Because you know Naruto, they got chakra. Dragon Ball Z is ki. What does One Piece got? Oh, it's Haki. Haki's energy. Okay. Haki Explained. One Piece 101. Okay.
Is dormant in all the world's creatures. Presence, fighting spirit,
Yeah, I see it,
and
Kayla.
intimidation.
Right.
It's not so different from the things that humans can naturally sense, such as these. The act of not doubting. That is strength.
Move my camera.
Hello and welcome to One Piece 101, the series that breaks down everyone and everything in the One Piece world. Today, we are going to be inspecting the dormant power system that exists within the One Piece world, Haki. Haki is a highly mysterious latent potential that exists within every living being in the One Piece world, although very few of those beings ever become aware of its presence, and even fewer come to harness its benefits. Beyond that, Haki is a very difficult existence to quantify because it isn't actually one singular thing such as Ki from Dragon Ball or Nen from Hunter x Hunter. Haki is actually a broader term used to describe three separate phenomena accessible to living beings. Quite specifically, those are Kenbunshoku, otherwise known as Observation Haki, Busoshoku or Armamentaki, and finally Haoshoku, better known as Conqueror's Haki. So let's begin with the wonderful world of Observation Haki. Principally speaking, this is the ability to sense the presence of other living beings. This presence manifests itself as an aura, shaped like the being itself, with no real three-dimensional details. It's very akin to looking at a silhouette, really, and this form of sight is particularly useful because it grants the user vision of beings who may be concealed by something or who are particularly far away, both of which were applicable to, say, Usopp when he engaged in Observation Haki to fire his bagworm at Sugar during the Dressrosa arc. Observation Haki can also be used as an alternative to those who are blind, such as Marina or Fujitora, who exclusively sees the world through the aura of others. It is also possible to use this aura to directly judge the strength of others, although this does require a high level of mastery to perform accurately and en masse, as demonstrated by Silver's Ray Lee. But Observation Haki also has more diverse users that will generally manifest depending on the needs of the individual in question. To illustrate, Otohime was able to use Observation Haki to sense and even directly empathize with the emotions of others. Meanwhile, more combat-focused individuals such as Luffy can use this brand of Haki to read and predict an opponent's moves slightly before they perform in battle, sort of like an incredibly short premonition.
Yeah, I like this one. I like this one.
Their own movement accordingly. However, if trained enough, then it is even possible to use Observation Haki to see several full seconds into the future, and not just in vague formations either. As the first prominent user of Future Sight in the series, Charlotte Katakuri was able to discern complex and detailed future situations. This ability comes with a caveat though, which is that he must remain—
So he can predict other people's moves and see, what, seconds into the future? You said Luffy can do that too now? Wow. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Sharingan a little bit in Naruto.
perfectly calm to look into the future. But that can also be said to be a prerequisite of all Observation Haki. It always functions more optimally when the user is in a more tranquil state of mind. So in essence, Observation Haki provides its user with knowledge that can show them where their target is, what they're going to do, and even how they're feeling.
Wow.
Next up is Armamentaki, which is the art of harnessing one's spirit to coat various parts of their body or even objects in a sort of armor around themselves. If you're familiar with the Rokushiki techniques, the general idea of Armamentaki is very similar to that of Tekkai. The difference being that Tekkai is entirely reliant on a user's physical strength, while Armamentaki relies on willpower and life force. Armamentaki can be applied in two different forms, one of which is completely invisible and is achieved by lightly coating oneself in spiritual force. However, when this is taken a step further and the user decides to clad themselves in a heavy concentration of Armamentaki, then it turns the affected area black, visually indicating to the regular person that you probably don't want to get hit by whatever that is. However, it has been implied by Charlotte Katakuri that there is a level of Armamentaki even greater than this, which may be what he used when his arms and hands turned rectangular in his fight against Luffy. However, whether this is a true manifestation of that higher level, or whether it was simply an added effect from Katakuri's Devil Fruit is unknown at the point of this recording. Users are not restricted to coating simple limbs though, and should they invest enough life force, they can also coat their entire bodies in armor.
So you can use all three types of Haki, right? Like there's people that can use all three, yeah? Wow.
Haki, turning them into quite formidable opponents, although the efficiency of doing so is arguable. Apart from the generally increased power, the main benefit of Armamentaki is that it allows the user to bypass an opponent's Devil Fruit power, which is very notable when it comes to Logia users, as Armamentaki serves as the only real recourse to dealing with them outside of their natural counter element. With that said, Armamentaki is also most effective against Paramecia users whose bodies are permanently altered, allowing them to take damage as if they had no Devil Fruit abilities whatsoever. It should also be said that Armamentaki does not nullify Devil Fruit powers like say Seastone does, rather it allows the user to hit the substantial body of the Devil Fruit wielding adversary. And one final word on Armamentaki: the power it provides is not a be-all and end-all. It is still highly influenced by the base strength of the user. So for example, in the case of two people fighting with
only a few people can use Conqueror's Haki?
equal levels of Armamentaki, the outcome of such clash will be determined by physical strength. It's actually even possible to overpower a person's Armamentaki with raw strength alone, although that kind of power is very difficult to generate. Transitioning into the last of the three, we have Conqueror's Haki. Now this class is particularly special because it is the only one impossible to access through training alone. In order to make use of Conqueror's Haki, the user must be born with it. And to put it simply,
so this is basically the most broken one.
The user to manifest their willpower and exert it quite violently upon others. A common result of this overpowering of the will of another individual is having them rendered immediately unconscious by the experience. Not only that, but victims of Conqueror's Haki can experience more long-term effects, such as the sensation of chills running throughout their body upon awakening. As a result, the greatest advantage of this ability is what I would call fodder control, quickly dispatching legions of weaker enemies so that we can move on to the main event. Although while this usage is commonly manifested in a big radial burst, more advanced users of Conqueror's Haki are able to choose the target of their willpower directly. Furthermore, continuous use of Conqueror's Haki will begin to physically affect the surrounding environment by creating shockwaves similar to that of the Gura Gura no Mi. It is said that only 1 in several million people are born with this power, and according to the
1 in 7 million?
Source, it is treble. This is because Conqueror's Haki is an ability used to determine one's quality as
so if you have this, you're the main character.
Or leader, chosen by divine.
You are a main character.
While I'm skeptical of believing anything this mucus baron has to say, it cannot be denied that most people in the series who possess it either have a regal position, such as Boa Hancock, who is known as the Pirate Empress, are striving for a regal position, such as Monkey D. Luffy, who wants to become the Pirate King, or have a regal epithet like Silver's Rayleigh, who is known as the Dark King. But there you have it, the 3 general areas of Haki. As stated in the beginning of the video, most people in this world will go their entire lives without ever learning of its existence.
You said, do you know you would get Conqueror's Haki in One Piece? How would I get Conqueror's Haki? Oh, you said, do you think you would get Conqueror's Haki if you're in One Piece? Okay. Nah, I gotta have it, bro. I gotta have it. There's no way, bro. I gotta have it. I gotta have Conqueror's Haki.
But in the Grand Line, especially in the New World, these abilities are more or less essential for survival, which is unfortunate for most pirates, marines, or revolutionaries, because developing an awareness of these key abilities naturally is nigh on impossible, and they only seem to manifest themselves in moments of extreme stress, you know, hard-fought battles and the like. In fact, Luffy and the Straw Hats endured the entire first half of their journey completely unaware of Haki. But even if you are lucky—
Wait, do y'all think y'all would? Oh yeah, you think you would? What about you, Akela? Think you would have Conqueror's Haki?
enough to find someone to teach you the basics and unlock your latent abilities, there is no—
You said nah? Why? You don't think you'll have— But that observation Haki? That looked tough, bro. I would try master that if I don't got Conqueror's Haki.
no amount of training that can advance your Haki usage to the very top levels, as Silver's Rayleigh has stated that true advancement in the realm of Haki only occurs during extreme use in battle, which is something we've seen firsthand with Luffy attempting to develop his observation Haki against Katakuri. So sadly for most of civilization, that's not an appealing idea at all. But for those who are willing to push themselves to the very brink of destruction, as well as survive to tell the tale, then the entire world awaits. Some more fun facts about Haki. Despite not being named until well after a decade of production, the very first use of Haki was actually in the very first chapter of the series, in which Shanks invoked Conqueror's Haki to scare off the Lord of the Coast. Although sadly he only did
so that's okay. That explains everything that episode, bro. Shanks already used Conqueror's Haki and I didn't even peep it.
He had
what the
his arm. Observation Haki also made a fairly early appearance in the series, in the grand scheme of things anyway, as it was commonly used during the Skypiea arc, although the citizens referred to it as mantra instead. Just as I stated that Conqueror's Haki is the rarest form of Haki, it should also be stated that the most commonly demonstrated type in the series is Armamentaki. Haki itself is one of those words that can have a ton of different meanings when translated into English, some of which being vigor, ambition, drive, spirit, willpower, and most literally, supreme ki. Despite its rarity, the ability to use some form of Haki is a requirement to become a Vice Admiral of the Marines. In fact, it's very potentially a requirement to be able to use both Armament and Observation Haki, but that is unconfirmed at the time of this recording. And finally, a truly useless fact. Al Pacino, the non-canon alpaca canon, is capable of using Armament Haki. But that pretty much does it for Haki. If you enjoyed this video and the content this channel produces in general, then please do consider donating to the Grand Line.
Very informational video. I loved it. W video. I learned a lot more about Haki.